Okay, hello, my name is Gareth. This is the first video of my channel, which I will think of a name, but for the moment let's just call it Gareth's Gaming. It's alliterative at least, and it sounds nice. I could have a nice logo, Gareth's Gaming, just a big G, and then Gareth, and then small Arths and small aiming. Very nice. Anyway, the reason for this is not actually to talk about games, computer games, war games, what kind of games. It's actually to develop my ability to speak in public in an engaging and interesting manner. Without going into massive details, I am currently undertaking a course designed to make me, hopefully, able to qualify as a solicitor. Part of that course, there is an advocacy assessment. I took it way back in May, I think, and I failed. My delivery was monotonous and unengaging, and therefore I need to work on that and develop it and find a way to just really sort of liven things up, engage people with the sound of my voice, which is hopefully not the human equivalent of a diuretic. But if it is, do feel free to tell me. Feedback is good, but if you are going to troll me, put some effort into it, please. Really come up with some really creative trolling that really is designed to not just, be a simple insult. It's really designed to get in there and twist the knife. I appreciate that, you've put effort into that, and it's kind of a weird form of flattery for me that you've actually put some thought into it. So, it would be very nice if you're going to troll me that, you really go that extra mile. Anyway, what we're going to be talking about today has nothing to do with advocacy or my course. I'm not going to talk about anything like that because I'm not qualified, it's not very interesting, and can of worms, Pandora's box, etc., etc., you get the drift. What I will say, however, is that every one of these videos will be completely unscripted. You are not allowed in this assessment to use a script. If you look like you are, they fail you. So I will be doing this completely unscripted. There will be some forethought and maybe some notes in future ones, just, sort of little prompt cards and so forth. But basically, there will be no scripts. So anyway, yes, you'll be getting a lot of anyways and bottoms. And again, if you want to use the bottom drinking game from How I Met Your Mother, please do go for it. It's very funny on the show. It's done with absolute aplomb. Just don't tell me, because like Robin, I will happily spend 30 seconds to a minute simply saying but because the thought of you getting inebriated and indeed paralytic will appeal to my perverse personality, and therefore it's just don't tell me. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the Recruit Edition starter set for Warhammer 40,000 9th edition. Yes, I know you probably would prefer to watch videos on the Command Edition and the Elite Edition, which is, if I remember correctly, they're basically almost the same, but Command Edition comes with some nice terrain. The Recruit Edition is none of these. It is the smallest of the three boxes. It is the cheapest of the three boxes, which is part of the reason I want to talk about it, because if, like me, you live on a bit of a budget, you don't want to be spending huge amounts of money, especially when you don't primarily collect the armies involved. Fortunately, in this case, my partner does kind of collect these models. She really likes painting the Primaris Marines. She really enjoys painting the Necrons. So, it's a sort of romantic gesture that I bought this box. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, all that jazz. I really bought this box for myself, just like how I once got her a snowboarding lesson for her birthday, because I've always wanted to try snowboarding. Thankfully, I did fall over so much that she was laughing her head off, and any thoughts she may have had of, I can't believe he got me a snowboarding lesson because really he wanted to go snowboarding, were completely gone, and she just thought I looked hilarious and ludicrous and made a complete tit of myself. This, by the way, is my modus operandi. I do like to make a tit of myself, unintentionally, of course, because that's even funnier. Anyway, enough gabbing and stuff. Let's have a look at the box. It helps when you hold it the right way up. Wow, it looks really weird. Yeah, this is one small problem, people, and I do apologize, but you are going to get the whole mirror effect in that, unfortunately, as I can see on my screen, everything looks backward, but, well, I'm sorry. We just can't work around that with the computer software I have at the moment, and like I said, it's designed to help me. Anyway, you've got this beautiful artwork on the front. You've got this chap, nice Primaris Marine with power sword and lovely looking halo. And then you've got this very, very beautiful Necron who has decided that silver is so out. And he's decided that bronze is definitely in. You know, this year's Necron colour of choice, it's bronze, people. All the well-to-do, the influential Necrons, they're all going to be wearing bronze. So forget silver, go out and get yourself some bronzer. Bad joke, yes. And then on the back, you actually have the contents of the box, which, again, with the kind of software I'm working on, I'm afraid they're not going to show up. The lighting is horrific. Again, sorry about that. But don't worry, we have Primaris Lieutenant, absolutely beautiful model. Kind of a Captain America vibe with the pistol and the shield, plus obviously the blue armor. I'm sure someone out there will paint him to look like Captain America. And here we have the Necron Royal Warden, who, at least online, is described as a kind of a lieutenant type figure for the Necrons. He's basically just, you know, he's the Overlord's sidekick. Although I thought that used to be just simple Necron Lords, but maybe they've done away with those. I don't know. I haven't seen the Codex. Opening it up, which it does help when I keep it on the screen, doesn't it? And make sure we don't just tip the contents all over the floor. That would be entertaining. Just put you down there. First of all, as you can see, it comes in this beautiful box which has pattern, and as with the starter sets in 8th edition, which I had No Fear and First Strike, you can, once the box is empty, simply basically turn it on its end and use it as a nice bit of impromptu terrain. Although, don't use the table that my partner and I use for gaming. You need something bigger if you want to use this box, because it basically will just get in the way and kind of gets annoying. So to start off with, bases, the newer, bigger bases that Games Workshop is now so fond of. Dice. The all-important dice. But trust me, people, if you play Orcs, you're going to need so many more dice than this. And then finally, we get to the good stuff. Here, and I love the fact that they're on one frame together, you have the Primaris Marine. As you can see, it's basically, there will be instructions. At least I hope there's instructions. And yes, before you ask, I've bought things off Games Workshop and its subsidiaries before, and there have been no instructions. Forge World in particular did not like instructions. Anyway, what we've got here, you can see, you've got your bodies, beautiful power sword there, his fantastic plasma pistol arm, lovely halo backpack, helmet, whatever that's supposed to be. I'm going to be honest and say I don't actually know what that's supposed to be. You've got this nice shield with a little purity seal on it, and I don't think you're actually going to be able to see it. No. There is there a key. What it's a key to, I don't know. I would make a very lewd suggestion, but I would like to keep this channel's content relatively clean and, you know, decent, so there'll be no lewd suggestions, there'll be no allusions to certain things that go on behind closed doors in certain fortress monasteries, and there'll be no swearing. Which you'll be thankful for, because as my girlfriend will tell you, I swear almost every other word sometimes. Anyway, Necron Royal Warden, you've got his body here. Interesting, kind of very similar to some Eldar models with that kind of styling there. You've got, I think that's his spine, those are his legs. That presumably is his chest, I think. Yeah, it looks like, no, that's his chest. This is his chest, people. I don't know what that is. We'll see when we get into the instructions. And you've got this wonderful Gauss flare. Now, I've built Necrons before. I have Death Marks, and I've got some Warriors, the old ones with the luminescent green tubes. I just paint over them. It's too much faff. And they're spindly. They're really unbelievably spindly to make, and I gotta be honest, they're a chore. So hopefully this will be better when we come to make it. But anyway, let's put that aside for 1 second, and remember to keep your head roughly in the center of the screen, otherwise the nice people can't see you. Here we have the Assault Intercessors, and I've got to be interested. I've seen In the newest edition of White Dwarf, White Dwarf 456, which discusses the 9th edition quite a bit, and the various starter sets you can buy, Assault Intercessors are apparently the bottom of the rung. They're apparently the first step that Intercessors take towards becoming, Intercessors. And it's kind of interesting. I would love the idea if they put this in, maybe it's in the Space Marine Codex, maybe it's going to be in a Space Marine Codex, I don't know. If basically the Space Marines under Reboot Guilliman and his new Primaris guys had something like the Manipula system that the Romans and the Samnites used way back before before Christ was coming along, in which basically, you've got lines of warriors, you've got your youngest warriors at the front, and you've got older, more experienced warriors behind, and then you've finally got your hardcore, guys who've been around for 20, 30 years doing this at the back, and basically, you commit them as needed depending on how good your foe is. So it kind of makes sense. The Assault Intercessors leg it forward, kill a few guys with chainswords, and if that's not enough, then the Primaris Intercessors come along and, shoot them down with bolter rifle fire. If I remember correctly from the fluff, the Imperial Fists are said to have integrated regular Intercessors into their ranks as breach suppressors. In other words, whenever the enemy's going to break through or has broken through, these guys get sent in. So yeah, that's a pretty cool concept. Talking about these guys, again, as you can see from the sort of models, there's a lot of basically holes. I think these guys are going to be near enough snap fit. And yes, my picture's obscuring my face. We've got lovely chainswords here. Got these new type bolt pistols, I think they are. I'll show you from this angle. This I particularly like. I've actually seen this in White Dwarf, that your Intercessor Sergeant can basically have a sheathed chainsword. I love that. It's a beautiful feature. I really like the fact that you've got sheathed swords on the Sisters of Battle, and it's nice that Games Workshop, in a sense, while it has made conversions a bit more difficult, they have moved, in a sense, beyond the whole sort of mono pose that a lot of their models used to have, in that effectively they're all standing in the same way, they're all holding the guns in the same way. You now have guys who are running, you have guys who are, they've got stuff hanging off arms. It's very much more interesting kits, and at some point, if we get round to it, we'll be talking about stuff like the Plague Marines, maybe the Intercessors, just other kits, and I will be comparing them to some of the older kits, which I have, including the Chaos Dreadnought kit, the Metal Chaos Dreadnought, more on that later. Then here we have Necron. I think they're warriors, but where is it? As you can see, you've got, they're not Gauss Flayers. I can't remember what they're called. But the beauty of these is, given that I've got a Royal Warden who is a lieutenant, I could easily use these guys as models and then use my older Necron warriors as simple warriors. And as I've found with, say, some of the older Sisters of Battle, who they're shorter than the new ones, people, it really adds some nice kind of like dimensions to your army when you've got these different era models together. It doesn't work so well with Space Marines of either type because the models are physically bigger. Yeah? And I think with Space Marines, who are all supposed to be genetically engineered, you'd think generally, yes, okay, there's going to be some height differences, but not, not huge height differences. Whereas I think the Sisters of Battle, it's not a massive height difference. So integrating them in isn't going to be a massive problem. Anyway, that's when I come to show you if I show you my painting skills, they're atrocious. Anyway, moving on, because I'm getting conscious that this video is dragging on. Again, as I said, we've got Necrons, we've got some fun, I think those are Scarabs, yes. Lots of nice pieces. As you can see, if I can get it to focus, you've got these little joints. That's what I'm talking about when I say spindly. Getting them in there, I'm sure some people find it easy. If, like me, you're not brilliant with your hands in terms of, putting things together that require a certain degree of finesse, I'm not going to say any more, then they're spindly and very, very, very difficult to get in. It requires a lot of patience, which my girlfriend will tell you I don't have. She has heard me ranting and raving at these things quite a few times, and I'd love to say she finds it amusing, but I think it actually just gets her annoyed, and fair dues, because it is actually pretty pathetic that a guy my age, no, I'm not telling you my age, gets annoyed over such things, you know. If I was a little kid, fair enough. I'm a grown man. Anyway, ooh, don't you just love that crinkly feeling? Let's see if we can get in. It always helps when you can find which side, see? Which side the actual thing's on. I like this. Used to it like packaging, you know, you'd always have to rip it open and throw it away. I love the fact that now, you know, even if you can't get them to sort of seal back up, you can at least keep the packaging around. So this looks to be the playmat, which I'm just going to open it up. It's not going to be brilliant, so what I'm going to do is just move my seat back so we get a bit more coverage. Ooh, there we go. Yes. Ooh. Yeah, there is a slight sort of new car smell. Oh, well, not a car, new car smell, but you know what I mean, that kind of plasticky smell. This is the beauty. We've got it open and it's a wiffle board, people. Now I can't get it shut, so let's just get it going. But as you can see, we'll show you one side. Again, very interesting, kind of like aftermath of a battle. You know, you've got lots of spindly bits. Then if we hold it up open this way, you have something that looks much more like, say, a manufacturing floor. That's cool. Let's just see if we can get it closed. No. Okay, well, there we go. It's the Blue Peter version, it's one I folded earlier. And then, oh, okay, love this. You get a transfer sheet. Yeah, that just about shows up in my grainy camera. You also get these to measure distances. It's very nice. Just a bit of background. I've been into 40k since 2007 when I bought the Dawn of War games. It was the Dawn of War anthology where you basically got the original Dawn of War plus the Winter Assault and Dark Crusade expansions. Loved that game, absolutely fantastic. Went on to buy Dawn of War Soulstorm, which, okay, the engine was getting on a bit by then, the aircraft were a bad idea to include, but you got to play Sisters, so who cared? Dawn of War 2, got it in 2008, was not impressed, didn't play it much, felt they changed it too much. Anyway, from there, the gaming, I actually got into the lore, really liked it, absolutely fantastic. Started buying the books, bought my first model, Chaos Dreadnought, metal. Guy in the shop was like, you know how to make these, you're experienced, don't you? Yeah. But I got it together. And then about 2009, a friend of mine at work, he was getting back into it, so we were able to get in some games, which is great. I'm just going to say this. You put the mat in a very easy to open bag, which I can reuse. This Games Workshop, this is not easy to open with your fingers. It requires something sharper, which makes me worry about damaging the book, and it would be really great if you could next time just use the exact same kind of bag that I can just gently open the top and then reuse afterwards to keep it in a nice condition. So that's going to be one big minus. Plus, okay. We'll go with the back. We'll go with the bit we're not fussed about going, so don't do this at home, people. Use your old pliers. And basically, this helps, doesn't it? Like I said, these videos are not scripted, so bear with me. Obviously, and this is feedback I got from another assessment. Don't break eye contact, people, unless you're writing something down, but when you're speaking, maintain eye contact. Okay, so we'll come to them in a minute. First of all, we have the recruit manual. Yes. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it up like that. I appreciate it's not the best, and you will doubtless get some people who maybe use handheld cameras. it has that wonderful smell. You know, you got a certain kind of paper. I don't know what process it is they use, but oh, that's just nice. That is nice. Anyway, as you can see, you basically got like background sections, the Prior Crusade. You've got the modeling sections, and I love the fact they put this in the same book. If I remember correctly, from 8th edition, they basically had these separate, but this is nice. So you've got everything effectively you need to know in one manual. Beautiful. Absolutely brilliant decision, guys. You know, that really is good. Certainly a lot better than the packaging. And then, again, I love this. Look at these. You could frame these. They're beautiful. And more importantly, they're big. So you won't be squinting. You won't have to get a magnifying glass. I haven't had to do these things, but, you know, give it 20, 30 years, the eyesight starts going, the hair falls out, the hearing goes. Yeah. Just imagine what it's gaming is like when you're in the assisted living home and there's not much left. You'll be like that poor chap in that book who ended up beating all his opponents by pouring brandy on the table and setting it alight. Anyway, nice. Absolutely, it feels beautiful. You've got some nice art, basically showing you, so you got your lieutenant there, you got your figures. Again, it's a bit out of focus, and the light is not the best in here, but that's beautiful. You get one for the Necrons, so you get your Royal Warden, and all his men, warriors. And oh, you get three kinds. You get Can I say this? Canoptek Scarab Swarms. Yes, that would make a much more interesting drinking game than Budum. Can you say that 5 times in a row when you're drunk without making a mistake in pronunciation? Anyway, let's have a quick look over what we've got. So, Royal Warden. Yes, Her Majesty's got one of these in Buckingham Palace. He gets, ooh, very nice, a Relic Gauss Blaster, range 24, rapid fire 2. Awesome. He's basically got like the world's greatest machine gun. Strength 5, very nice. Takes 2 off your armor. Yep. He's got 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership of 10. He's got a 3+ save. Not bad. Not bad. And he is basically the enforcer for his lord. So, you know, it's what Her Majesty uses the corgis for. Warriors, they come with Gauss Flare. Again, 24 rapid fire 1 or Gauss Reapers are 14. Interesting range choice there, guys. Not a multiple of 6. Very interesting. Most weapons in 40k, in my experience, are multiples of 6. If I remember correctly, even the Fire Dragon's Fancy Lance was a range 18 weapon. So, yeah, interesting choice there, guys. Range 14. It's just rapid fire 1, as you'd expect. With the Space Marines. Okay, Assault Intercessor Squad. Let's see what we've got. You can take a heavy bolt pistol, range 18. You see what I say about multiples of 6. Strength 4, -1 to armor. Nice. You've got your plasma pistol, which can be supercharged. That's decent. And you've got your Astartes Chainsword, which again takes off 1 armor and gives 1 additional attack. Sweet. I really like that they've really given chainswords an upgrade in the last few editions, because chainswords are the iconic weapons of 40k. You know, you see everyone wielding them. Imperium, Chaos, the Orcs kind of have versions, the Eldar have a version. It's very nice. The Lieutenant, Captain America, or Lieutenant America as I suppose he will be, he is equipped with a Neo-Volkite pistol. Interesting weapon. I'm not quite sure what a Neo-Volkite does, that a Volkite doesn't do, you know. Presumably something new. He's got a mastercrafted power sword. He has a storm shield. Nice. So basically, yep. He's again, Val's pistol has a range of 15. So again, not a multiple of 6. Interesting choice. And each modified wound roll of 6, 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage. So kind of like the old rending rule. Rending weapon, if I remember correctly, killed on a 6. That's going back to 4th and 5th edition, which is what I started with. You see what I mean about not scripted? I was going to compare this box to Assault and Blackreach, but it's getting to be a long video. So I tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to wrap this up now because, to be honest, if I do the modeling, I will be looking at the clock. I will probably be worrying about the time going over, and frankly, for a first video, this is already getting kind of long. I figure that when you start and your videos don't want to be more than 10-20 minutes. Probably wrong there. So what I'm going to do, slight change of plans, just because I'm sure you're all happy to see my grainy, spotty face, although wonderfully this camera does not show my multiple spots, because I, like the Emperor Tiberius, still have spots way past puberty. Also, if anyone's wondering, I'm not like the Emperor Tiberius in the other aspects. I'm not a paranoid megalomaniac who does certain things to certain members of certain families on a certain island, off a certain bay of a certain place, which is associated with a certain type of criminal. Oh, Capri, Bay of Naples, he had a villa there. Nasty things went on. It's not much of a surprise that poor old Caligula was stark raving, utterly total mad bonkers. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to make the production video separately. So I will wrap this up one by reviewing contents. I think overall it's fantastic. You have lots of nice models to put together. You have lots of bases to put together. You have dice, you've got everything you need to start playing, and you've got a rule book. So effectively, basically, this is what a starter set should be. You can build your models, hopefully put them together in like 10, 20, 30 minutes, and you can start playing within an hour of unboxing, which is great. In terms of costs, you're getting, I think, 10 models. Okay, I'm going to be honest. In terms of GW's current prices, that's probably fair because you're also getting all the other stuff besides. When you look at a lot of models boxes now, they're all 30 odd quid for 10 models. You don't get rule sets, you don't get dice, you don't get your little data cards, you don't get any of that. You just get the instructions. That's your extra. The instructions and stats. So how does it compare to the last one, First Strike from 8th edition? Well, let's see. First Strike, I'm going to be honest, you didn't get full squads. That was a bit of a bummer. But you did get multiple troop types. That was a nice feature, especially in what was a box that, well, when I bought it, it only cost me 20 quid. I'm sure by now it would probably have been about 30 quid. This one is for a bigger scale, however. It's a bigger box, for one thing. So that's nice, not sort of starting you off like, ridiculously small scale. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, my partner and I play on our table. It's not a particularly large table. We don't bother with transports. We would play on the floor, but I don't know. I like playing on a table. It's just somehow more civilized. We're not barbarians. I think generally my only complaint so far is the wrapping on the recruit manual. I think, if you're going to use nice, easy to open, easy to reseal wrapping on one thing, as I said, do yourself a favor. Use it on both, because the beauty of it is it's easier to get open, and more importantly, there is an incentive not to simply throw it away, because you can reuse it. And, it goes without saying that these days, anything you can reuse is better. I think we're starting to see the effects of all that, but don't worry. I'm not going to make this video overly political. I'm just saying. Let's see, let's wrap it up in the next minute or so. I think basically, yes, this is very much value for money. If you're starting out or if you're just wanting to get your hands on something to do with 9th edition, but you don't want to fork out for the rulebook or you can't afford to fork out for the rulebook, this is great. You're only getting 10 models. If you don't collect either army, well, fine. First of all, you get to try an army you've not played. Maybe you want to play it. Maybe you want to try it out. Again, beautiful way to start. And if you don't want to play these models, well, you can always just use them for painting practice. Or, like myself, you can use them to, win your lady's heart. In days gone by, I would have gone out and slain a dragon and brought its scaly, bloody head home and said, it's going to look fantastic on your mantelpiece, love. But nowadays, and especially as dragons have never existed, that's not very feasible. Plus, let's face it, no one likes pictures of people killing animals apart from the people who took the pictures and who are in the pictures. Again, I'm getting political. I apologize. We're over 30 minutes. So yes, I will be wrapping this up. In the assessment, I would have been told, you've got 2 minutes left. And I would have been, so yeah, if you're basically thinking of getting a starter set, unless you do particularly collect these armies, or you just want that piece of terrain in the Command Edition box, I wouldn't bother getting those boxes. I would say go for this one, save yourself a bit of money, spend it on something else that you do actually want, because as I understand it, it's not like with First Strike. With First Strike, there were models in First Strike that you couldn't get in Know No Fear. I think you got them all in Dark Imperium, but you couldn't get them in Know No Fear. So there was a kind of incentive. If you got Know No Fear, you could buy First Strike as well, or you could just probably think, screw it, at that point, I'll fork up and fork out and get Dark Imperium. But with this one, as I understand it, basically, the bigger the box you get, the more models you get, but there's no sort of models in only one box. So, yeah. And in conclusion, and I've droned on and rabbited, and probably anyone's going to comment on that, feel free to. Something I'm going to work on. This is a great box. It's well worth the money you're paying. And if you can use it to, make your girlfriend happy, bonus. I should point out, in fairness, that A, I'm very much aware that there are lots of female gamers, and B, my girlfriend does actually love painting these models. She's really good. She's certainly good compared to me. I am a terrible painter. I'm quite happy when my models end up looking as if the paint is at least consistent in terms of its thickness, and it doesn't just look like I've been a toddler slapping it on the walls. And yes, people, we all know we've been there when we were little kids. What's the point of being a little kid if you can't do that, eh? Anyhow, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to comment, and as I've said, if you're going to troll me, come on guys, really put some thought into it. Don't just call me an idiot, or say I'm useless, or say I'm boring, just really get creative and say that, you were right, mate. Listening to you did actually help me with my constipation. Thank you very much for allowing me to go to the toilet. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, people. Really pull out your A game. Thank you. And with that lovely thought, which isn't quite a lewd suggestion, but is definitely disgusting, I shall say, adieu, mes amis.